Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to take some of our songs, or one of our songs, and get it ready for the live performance. As you know, we're using the black box as our main unit, and we need to obviously get parts of our tracks, sequences, and everything like that into there, so then we can do a live performance. Obviously, these same techniques will work if you're using a Octatrack, or if you're using maybe you can get away with a Digitech. I haven't kind of gone too far into that, but let's get cracking. So I've chosen to use this this remix that I've done for Mixel. Come out a few years ago, but I really like it, and it's got the same vibe that I want. It's got that acid feel. We have like the acid line down here. And all up we have a good amount of elements, but not too many. So one thing to consider when getting tracks ready is having them as sections. So obviously you can see on the black box here, we've got 4 rows, and I've kind of separated them out. You've already see I've got samples loaded in there already, but I have a couple of clips in there, and I have some just one-shot samples in there as well. And then obviously if we kick over, we have some sequences. So the one thing that you want to consider is, do you kind of want it to be like Ableton where you're just playing clips and they just go one after the other, or you can kind of move through different sections so you can kind of remix on the fly? Or do you want individual samples that you just build the sequence within the black box or your desired sampler or sample player to then create the tracks? I've gone for a combo here just to show both ways, but let's get onto it where we choose some clips, because I think what I'm going to do for my end result is going to be clips to play some sections, and then maybe having a couple of samples on there as like a fail-safe in case my drum machine just falls apart or something like that. So you can see here, I keep my stuff pretty well color-coded. We have drums up here. We can mute this one out. This is just like a distortion track of the drums. Sounds very nice. But we have drums here. And my thinking is I'm going to have majority of these drums just come straight from my 808. I think pretty much all of these samples are coming from the 808 anyway. So it makes it super easy to kind of recreate and kind of give it a different feel. As we come down, we have, actually, let's go like this. We have a bunch of vocal bits in here.
2 full bottles and a couple of hits.
And then as you come down, we have sort of synths down to here. And that could be synths and then the bass line. So what we want to do is we've got 4 across. So what I want to do is kind of choose maybe a part A, which would be like an intro section, part B, which is going to be like the main sort of bulk of the groove, a C part, which is going to be maybe the breakdown, and then a D part, which can just be a variation on the whole piece. So we can come along and we'll just choose a section. You could even just keep it 2 bars here. And got this. And there's our groove for our A part. So I would go in and I would then go to the master, render that out, and then that's my A part. And then we come along a little bit further. We've got this bit, it's got the little tambourine sample in there. And the hats have changed from just a simple pattern over here, where it's like on the offbeat, and then this one here is like a bit more, has a bit more energy in it. You can hear very close to each other, but slight variation still. So that could be our B part. And then come along, we've got our like little breakdown here. So we could just grab another 2 bars, a filtered kick, a little diggy tack snare pattern, and then we have just the tambourine that gets filtered up. But that could be our C part, and then maybe this part with the hat, or with the ride in there rather, as another part. So I've gone and rendered all those into here, and you can have a listen to the parts that I've got in here now. And let's turn it up a little bit. Got the part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Now, one thing that you might have noticed, and if I push stop, we'll go into one of these, you can see that when it's rendered out, we've got this little gap at the start. And I didn't know that Logic was doing that, but I will have to go in and fix that, because if I play one of these sequences, this one here, actually no, won't go that one, we'll go this one. If I play that with the sequence, it sounds like I'm train wrecking. So that is just that little bit there. And I had to look at it and I'm like, okay, I need to just tighten up all of those. But you get the idea, where we have the different clips, we have the different sections of the song, so then we can play those along with it. What I'm going to do is just turn off that sequence there, and we'll move on to the next section so you can see the kind of the thinking behind which parts I've taken out. So we'll turn those off. Next I went with the vocal sections. We just solo all those. And for this, I kind of chose like decent sort of blocks of vocals. So this vocal top, I use that as, I just grabbed I think I grabbed like maybe a 12 bar. I just grabbed a good section of it. Maybe even just grabbed this bit here. No, I think I grabbed more. Anyway, so we've got this section here. So and I thought this is really good as just like a bed for the song. So then we can kind of have something going in the background. I can add delays to it. I can add reverbs to it to kind of give it a different feel. And if I play I've got the vocal top here. So you can hear that bit there. And I thought, oh, this would be kind of cool if we go into it, and we can change it over to a granular, and then that gives us like some other options in there where we can kind of filter bits and pieces. We could scatter it, change the density, change the grain size, and give us a different feel. Overall, we could maybe pitch it, filter it. And have that playing along with some of the drums. just to have something a little bit more to play with, because at the end of the day, I don't want to just play clips because I might as well just DJ. I want this to be kind of more of a live remix sort of tool. So I chose this one as a nice little bed for it. And then for the other vocal parts, I just looked at the sections and kind of just broke it up into the sections. So this one is one section here. This is a, let's have a look. This is a repeat. Actually, I might have just included that whole thing. Anyway, that bit there, this section here is a repeat of this section, so there's no point doubling it up. And then as you come along, we have this is another section here.
100 spikes driven.
It's another variation, different vocals and a different vocal line. So I chose 3 of the vocal lines. And
cleaned up nice and ready to go.
This one.
Kissed their cheeks and grabbed his coat. Strapped in.
The strapped in line. And then
100 spikes driven.
And then the spikes driven as my 3 lines to kind of play around with and get different variations and whatnot. Next up, I looked at the synths, and we've got all these synths here. And because I wrote this line here, this little bloopy bit, just a super simple square wave sort of plucky sort of sound, I decided to not render this one out, and then I have the peak playing it in the case. So the peak is taking over that. But I didn't just make this patch again. I made a new patch, same feel, very plucky, but a different feel to the actual tone of it. So it's given another sort of dimension to the remix. I kind of grouped these off as these sort of held notes as another top. So we got this one where I have a couple of elements there. And then I just chose for the other bits and pieces, we've got these sort of, these ones. So there's that one. That's that same one on the screen now. And there's another variation that kind of pans left and right. And the cool thing about these ones is it's not so much musical information that if it was just a repeat over and over, it doesn't really matter. It's just like I can add some reverbs, I can add some delays, I can filter it and kind of keep a good energy without having too much musical information there. And that's just the nature of the song that's kind of presented it that way. And then obviously we've got the acid line. Now for the acid line and the sort of plucky, what I did is I took, we'll come over here. We've got, this is the pluck line. And if I come in, yeah, boop, boop, boop. Where are we? Here, I don't know why it's done that for some reason. Select all these and just get them back to 1. So we've got our little pluck line. So what I've done to go along with it is if we bring up, you can see we've got some control changes and a program change. Now this is allowing me to, when I load that up, and I trigger that, it's going to tell the peak that it needs to switch to bank C and the first preset of that bank to then create that's going to be the sound. And then obviously for the 303, it's pretty basic. There's only two waveforms on that. So I've gone and just recreated that. If we go in, you can see it's just a simple little pattern there. Recreated that, and then that plays. And the big thing as well is I've also got MIDI information embedded in that. So if we go to here, sequence, we've got this one on channel 1, and then sequence, this is one, oh, this is on channel 2. So we have the peak on channel 2, the 303 channel 1. So we keep, I don't have to worry about going in and changing any of those numbers. It's already baked into the MIDI clip. So that's a way that you can have clips playing. But then obviously the other side is we can just render out individual samples. And then from those individual samples, we can go ahead and put them in here. So we have a kick, snare, hat, and a little tom. So we've got those samples, and I've just pulled those. I've just gone in and grabbed sections. Grab this one and grab the little tom and so on. Load them in. And then if we cruise over to the sequence, turn these ones off, I have a couple of sequences, and then that's looking to those samples to create those sequences. So if we push play now, we have a little sequence. We can, there's our variation there, the other variation, and then the last one with a bunch of energy. So the other way that you can kind of combine these both together, we have these drum sections here. Instead of having full drum loops like we've got here, so if I sequence, turn this off, pads, instead of having this full loop here, we could add in just top lines, just top audio loops to kind of accompany along with the track. I've already got the TR8 kind of doing a majority of the heavy lifting, but sometimes it just needs a little bit more to kind of get it across the line. So I think by using these 4 clips with just audio loops with some good top line, not top line, but top percussive lines, I think those with the sequence, if my drum machine fails, would be really good. But then having just those with the drum machine would be a good combo with everything like that. And that is about it. It's not a super long one today, but I just kind of wanted to cover the steps that I went through to grab a song and get it into here to then get the live performance. I jammed out, even though these aren't super tight, I jammed out for a little bit, and I was super happy with how everything's come together. I'm going to delete these drums up the top and put in some percussive lines just because I feel like that's going to be a little bit better for the song and for the set. But I just wanted to show you guys a way that you can have full drum loops from your song and put them in here to then kind of recreate. So that's a lot of talking. Hopefully you've understood what I've done and everything like that. And at the end of the day, hopefully this has inspired you to create something. Until next time, see you later.